Hello, everyone. It is a beautiful sort of Tuesday morning. I already screwed up my morning by ordering a medium Dunkin' cold brew instead of a large one, but to make up for it, I made my own hot coffee. So there's going to be a little contrast over here. But this is Pucks and Brews. I am your host, Michael Shades Farasino, alongside, as always, Liam, the Shell Master Godimer. How did that showdown with Brendan go, or did that not happen yet?
I have not played him yet. No, I'm back in North Carolina, but once I get back to Georgia, it's game on. Me against Brendan.
Yeah, he kind of killed me last time we played NHL Hits a few weeks ago. So,
Maybe when me and Brendan play, we can get highlights from the game and just throw it into the Pucks and Brews episode.
ooh, nice little
Ju-
intro
Just just
idea.
just so our fans can see how the game went.
Just for clarification, my goalie in NHL Hits could not stop a beach ball. Even Brendan was just like, yeah, I shouldn't have won by that much. It's like, yeah, you're goddamn right. You and your fucking goalie glitch ass. All right. This is episode 67 of Pucks and Brews. But one other thing before we get into the meat of the episode. Phil Kessel apparently has a poker tournament going on, and that's all I know about it. So I wonder if there's any professionals or any other NHL players in there. I don't know.
Good,
Literally did not look into this at all.
good for him.
I
Hope
mean,
it.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
And apparently it's in Vegas, which makes it even cooler.
Hope it's successful.
I hope so.
Maybe he's trying to swing a contract with the Golden Knights. Never know.
Hey, never. Or,
Yeah,
with like DraftKings or something, FanDuel.
yeah.
We're not
Good.
sponsored by any of these, by the way. This is just coming up in conversation.
Yeah.
Also not sponsored, Cold Brew, not sponsored. Can these people relax outside? There was also just a car accident right outside. Somebody hit someone's door. Eh, This, so just yeah, this morning is all over the fucking place. But anyway, this is Pucks and Brews. I hope you enjoy, everyone, because I always forget to say this. Grab a drink of choice. Mine is two this evening, or this morning, I should say, because it's currently 10:45 a.m. I got a medium cold brew, large or medium homemade coffee, I guess, with some vanilla almond milk. So that's my way to drink coffee. I don't know about you, but
I'm actually not a coffee drinker. I don't know if you knew that.
I never have seen you drink one. So
It's not my palate doesn't agree.
yeah, there's some days.
Yeah.
Don't need to go any more in depth on that, but there are some days. As you can imagine, I really don't need to go in depth on that. But everybody, and grab a drink of choice and enjoy the episode. So we had a very random, in my opinion, but sort of big trade, at least one name wise. The San Jose Sharks acquired Alexandar Georgiev from the Colorado Avalanche in what ended up being, I believe, a five-piece deal, if not more. It would be nice if I actually had the trade right in front of me. But going back the other way is Scott Wedgwood. And I saw before we get into the meat of this trade, there was one funny ass tweet from, I believe, Pete Blackburn, who put out that the Sharks now have, excuse me, the Avalanche now have Miles Wood, Scott Wedgwood, and Mackenzie Blackwood. So just imagine if the New York Rangers play the San Jose Sharks, Sam Rosen will have a heart attack.
Funny.
But yeah, the Sharks get a wannabe starting goalie. You know my thoughts dating back to Georgiev's time on the Rangers, and Colorado gets out from that contract and gets Scott Wedgwood. So, what are your thoughts on this trade, Liam?
Wasn't it Blackwood? Mackenzie Blackwood
It
back?
I'm pulling my Sam. I told you this was not a good start to the morning
That's
here.
why I'm here.
Yeah,
That's why
cold
I'm here.
brew. Yeah,
No
I
worries.
need this.
But it was Alexander Georgiev traded to San Jose in exchange for Mackenzie Blackwood. Here's where I want to start with this trade, Shades.
Go
Mike
for it.
Greer, general manager of the San Jose Sharks. Excellent management with his asset here in Mackenzie Blackwood. Brought him in for nothing. I think what did he give up? A sixth round to New Jersey to trade for him about a year ago, 2 years ago now, uh, 3 years ago actually. Now he's played, yeah, so 3 seasons ago. And again, he trades him for Alexander Georgiev, and we can debate whether that's an upgrade, but I think for San Jose, they just believe that a change of scenery for Georgiev, who's had his numbers go down over the last couple of years, could be a positive sign for him. And on the other end, for Blackwood, right, he's a goaltender that hasn't struggled. He's actually gone on the up, had an 890 save percentage with the Devils before the trade. However, with San Jose last year, 900 save percentage. This year, 2.95 goals against and a 910 save percentage. So he's been really good. So, I think Colorado's banking on a little bit of a resurgence from Blackwood here. So it's an interesting trade in my eyes. So we'll see.
Yeah, the full trade being the Avalanche get Mackenzie Blackwood, Giovanni Smith, and a 2027 fifth round pick. And San Jose gets Alexander Georgiev, Nikolai Kovalenko, a 2026 second round pick, and a 2025 fifth round pick. So
Should I swap fifth round picks?
yeah,
Second
just two
rounder.
years apart. Giovanni Smith,
He's been around the league. Detroit.
26-year-old right winger, left shot. Currently has a two in the second year of a 2-year contract with a cap hit of 800,000. His stats are not really worth mentioning. He actually does not have a full season in the NHL under his belt. And for Nikolai Kovalenko, he is a 25-year-old right wing who shoots left, also in year two of a 2-year contract. Cap hit just under 900,000, and this is his first year playing games in the NHL. 4 goals and 4 assists for 8 points in 28 games. So that's kind of what you would expect for a guy making that cap hit. But yeah, hopefully this solves Colorado's goaltending issues for the time being, at least. And I still think this trade is very random. Just
Again, I think it's Colorado banking on a little bit of a resurgence here. And, Kovalenko is an interesting prospect. He was a point per game player in the KHL, and recently came over. This is his first pro season. Well, second pro season, played 4 games last year with Colorado in the AHL, the Eagles. 8 points in 28 games in the NHL this year. So again, San Jose, when you think about it, right, they get Georgiev. And again, we can debate whether that's an upgrade over Blackwood right now. But you bring in Kovalenko as well. And you get a second round pick out of it. So for me, I really like this trade for San Jose. Great work. And for Colorado, they get again a goaltender that could get hot. And we've seen Stanley Cup winners in years past. You look at Aiden Hill, with Vegas. It can work out sometimes. Sometimes it's the trade you make early in the year. And I think Colorado, that's what they're banking on. So it's interesting to me. It's a little bit random, but it's interesting. I think we'll look at it later down the road and, kind of say like, oh, all right. That's kind of where it went right for Colorado, where that's where San Jose picked it up. So,
yeah, San Jose definitely needs to pick it up because I mean Greer has been taking a lot of criticism and backlash over the last few years because the Sharks are not in a good position, even after drafting Macklin Celebrini. So they're trying, yeah, like you said, this is definitely them banking on them kickstarting something.
yeah, yeah. More draft
But
picks too. Second rounder.
yeah,
We'll take it. If you're San Jose, get some more young players in there. So
yeah, absolutely. They're doing better draft pick wise than the Rangers. Okay, I'll stop. But speaking of the Rangers, we do
hopefully going
have quite
forward.
a bit of news to
Yeah.
cover on this particular team. This is the team, that we base this podcast around. But let's
Yep.
just start off with the big news. Jacob Trouba traded to the Anaheim Ducks. And damn, about time. That's what I'm going to say. But full trade being Jacob Trouba in full cap hit to this. I almost said the San Jose Sharks, to the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for uh is it Uso Vakanainen?
Euro Vakanainen.
Euro Vakanainen.
Yeah.
And a 2026 fourth, I believe. Again, I got to get the trade up in front of me. But two things. One, the Rangers got rid of Jacob Trouba's cap hit in full. That in itself is a W on the Rangers side. Uh, Now, after looking at Anaheim's cap situation the other day when this trade happened, I can kind of see why Anaheim was one, willing to take on the full contract, and two, willing to get rid of Vakanainen because Vakanainen's 25 years old. I think he has one season, one full season in the league, and after taking Truba's full cap hit, I believe they are still not at the cap floor next season. So from that aspect, that made sense.
Yeah, for me, I think Chris Drury deserves a lot of credit for this trade. He got himself a fourth round pick and he got himself a 25-year-old left shot defenseman who, again, only 14 points in 68 games last year, but still, if he can be a shutdown guy, 6'2", 210 pounds, it's a pretty good deal for Drury. And again, like you said, you take advantage of a team that needs to get to the cap floor in the Anaheim Ducks, and you get them to eat all of that cap hit. And again, I texted you and Brendan about it at the time. The Rangers save between the Barclay Goodrow contract and the Jacob Trouba contract being taken in full by San Jose and Anaheim around $11.75 million. Then you go and we'll talk about it in a second, but you go and re-sign Igor Shesterkin to around that same number. Chris Drury just got that contract for free. And he didn't give up any assets to do it. In fact, he got a 25-year-old defenseman and a fourth round pick. It's a dream scenario for the Rangers. Addition by subtraction, that's how I see it. It's unfortunate for Trouba because I don't think he was treated great throughout this entire scenario, especially by the Rangers front office, especially in the summer, when everything got leaked about the potential trade to Detroit. I think he deserves a fresh start, and I'm happy that he's going to get one. So for both sides, I think right now, can be happy with where it's at. So I'm really happy as a fan about what that trade transpired to be. So Anaheim's one of the few teams, that would be interested at Trouba, for all that he brings and all the money he makes. So
Yeah, I think in the long run, this trade is gonna be more of a wash for both teams because Rangers they needed to get rid of a contract. Anaheim was willing to take it to get rid of a guy that they kind of gave up on
just
after
based on
acquiring him from the Bruins.
just based on the cap shades, I don't think it's a wash. You're saving $8.5 million.
Now
It's
let's see if they spend that wisely.
save the Rangers' future for right now. We would have been screwed if we were locked into that Trouba contract, and
Well, it
especially,
was only through next year, so
yeah, yeah. But then if you go
at
back
least it
to
wouldn't.
Goodrow,
Yeah, okay.
had 3 years left, right? So
Actually, no, Trouba's deal's up at the end of next year, I think.
no, Goudreau.
Oh,
It's like Goudreau.
Goudreau. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that contract was
that was a long one.
so I'll get back to that in a minute, but
Yeah,
so based on the news that Emily Kaplan reported after this trade went down, it was brought to our attention that the trade that was on the table between Drury and Yzerman over the summer to send Trouba to Detroit actually didn't materialize on Detroit's end because the person or the player in this particular instance that was on the trade that was on the table did not waive their no trade clause to come to the Rangers. That when I heard that news, I was taken aback a little bit because I went immediately right back to there was nothing mentioned there that Trouba said no to that trade.
right.
I immediately go back to why did his wife get dragged through the mud when the trade not going through wasn't on him? He needed to get out. Rangers needed a fresh start. This is a win for both sides because the Rangers got out from an $8 million contract to a player that was massively underperforming based on expectations for when they acquired him. Trouba needed to get out because honestly, as soon as a player's family member, an innocent bystander, gets brought into the mix here, I have no problem with a player checking out because I would do the same thing. And I'm surprised he didn't push to get traded more over the summer. But the trade finally happened. And sort of provided a spark for 2 games. I mean, they've still lost, obviously, but you did say addition by subtraction. What is your whole opinion on Emily Kaplan's news and everything I just said right after that?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from, but I just think it's all in the past. Like situation is what it is now. I mean, it's unfortunate what had happened with Trouba, like you said, and his family and his wife, and kind of how they were dragged through the mud. I think you worded that really well. But now they're in a new scenario, and again, Trouba, you would have to think, prior to the trade happening, had a little bit of say in the destination and where he was going. So obviously Anaheim is kind of comfortable to where their family situation is at presently. But yeah, the Emily Kaplan news was interesting, but for me, I'm just ready to move on. And addition by subtraction, like you said, lost the last 2 games. I don't really think we played better defensively. But for me at this point, I don't know. I think you got to start to look at the leaders, and I think you got to start to look at the coach. And again, Drury, that report came out, right? And I know we'll get to this in just a bit, but the report came out a couple of weeks ago after the Rangers got destroyed in Edmonton, where Drury said he's going to look to trade, some of the veterans and stuff like that. And since then, they've been what, like 2-6? So got to look at Kreider. You got to look at Zibanejad. They've been egregious. Um, and if we want to save what we've got going on with this core, drastic measures have to be taken. Trouba's a good start, but that's all Drury can't do. He's got to do more. You got to see more. So
Yeah, and that bleeds into
where I'm
the
at.
glaring issues that I
Yeah.
have written down in my notes, and Truba was unfortunately one of them. But he is not even the only one on the defensive side of the puck. He was the only one on the right side of our defense because, let's be honest, Fox is having a little bit of a down year, but you're not getting rid of him. And Schneider has been okay. If, whoever comes in to play that third right defenseman spot. I mean, they have guys like Mancini and Jones who can play the right side in a pinch, but I feel he's more of a left side guy. Now, the Vekanainen thing is going to get a little interesting. Connor Mackey is also still on the active roster, which haven't seen him in a long time. So, I mean, they have a couple guys to plug in there, but Lindgren's play has also been a massive issue this year.
Lindgren has struggled. Keandre Miller has struggled
Has
as well.
struggled since last year. Yeah.
I'm telling you, put Keandre up front at this point. It's kind of where I'm at with him. You know, Might have a Brett Burns type situation. They had in Minnesota and San Jose. But yeah, no, Lindgren has really struggled. Again, he's not making a ton of money. He has great camaraderie with Fox. They've been a pair for as long as we can remember. As your camera goes out of focus and then back in focus.
Once
Um,
once an episode.
but yeah, for me, I don't think Fox has been Fox this year, and I think Schneider has regressed a little bit from where he was last year. And then again, your bottom pair has been a little bit flip-flopped, right? You've had Ruedel in there, Mancini, Trouba, now he's out. So again, I think Peter Laviolette's got to get the consistent 6 men that he wants in there night in and night out in the lineup. And I hope the Trouba trade means that Mancini is in the lineup moving forward. So can look forward to that. But yeah, the defense has really been a struggle. But for me, that's not the biggest Ranger issue. It's not. We'll get there.
Yeah. Also, I'm still puzzled as to why, but they one made the trade for Ruedel and two decided to re-sign him when there was no plan to play him.
Right.
I'm still baffled by that.
It's been kind of stuck over in the AHL. So
Yeah, he's played 1 game for the Rangers this season. That's
Ruido should be playing, in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm in Georgia. So
yeah. This is why we're just simple little podcasters. Although you're an
again,
ECHL announcer.
I am. Yes, I am.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
if
you're
you're
doing better than I am right now.
no, I
Hmm.
wouldn't say. Um,
You kind of are.
The broadcasting job is nice. It's nice, but it does get stressful at times. Um, got teddy bear toss coming up on Friday, so we'll see.
Oh, it's always
Um,
fun.
yeah, But yeah, the Rangers issues are abundant at this point in time. So we'll see where it goes. Hopefully they turn it around.
Going from the defensive side of the puck to the offensive side of the puck, I mean, we have to talk about this. Mika Zibanejad's play has just continued to deteriorate
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
basically since when he came back from COVID. He just, as soon as we went into COVID, this guy was just on an uphill climb, on absolute fire, scoring in seemingly every game. Soon as the COVID stoppage hit, he has not been the same player. And it has just continued to get worse. And it
Yeah.
is painful.
Mika's really struggled. And for me, if it's just the goal scoring and the point producing, you can look past that if he's playing well in the other two zones. He's just not playing well anywhere right now. Power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, neutral zone, offensive zone, defensive zone. He's got 20 points in 27 games, but he's a minus 15. He's your first line center. And again, too many nights where he hasn't shown up, simply put. So I think the Rangers might have to look to the youth. I don't know, going forward here, you know. Does Hedo take over that first line center role? Do the Dallas Stars have any interest in Mika Zibanejad after losing Tyler Seguin for the season? So, just makes you think sometimes. But again, he's really been on a downward trajectory for quite a while now. And again, his play is costing the Rangers games. I think he had a turnover against the Kraken, the Rangers last game, where again, just gave the puck right over and in the back of your net, just like that.
I
So,
unfortunately did not catch the game last night because I was at a hibachi place.
yeah.
So I was having more fun than the Rangers last night.
Oh, last
That
night
was
they
against the Blackhawks, but the game before was against the Kraken, which
they
I
just
also missed.
they just didn't have much last night. Chicago
No.
shut them down, and that's the 32nd ranked team in the league. So if you're not looking in the mirror after that game, I don't know what you're doing. So
Going to hibachi was the right move last night. But other than Mika Zibanejad, it has also been. I keep going back to this guy. I mean, Chris Kreider, the goal scoring is there a little bit for what you expect him to score and finish with the season. But dude, his play has been almost as bad.
I mean, yeah, the goal scoring is there, but the facilitating is kind of non-existent. It's one assist in 24 games. So I mean, he's always going to get his goals, right? Being that big body in front of the net on the power play, master of deflections, like to call him. But this year it hasn't been too hot of a start. And again, that first line rolls as Mika and Kreider do, and they're not kind of playing up to their career standard at the moment. And it's no surprise that the Rangers team, as a result, are struggling. So.
Yeah, I'm just happy that Laviolette finally had the balls to drop them to the third line and try and, provide a wake-up call for those two. Doesn't
Yeah.
seem to have worked yet, but it's only been a few games. Another person who's having an off season, to put it nicely, Vincent Trocheck.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just problems all over the ice.
And Trocheck this year, 27 games, 17 points. I mean, Mika is outscoring Trocheck at this point in the year. So 20
Well,
to
I
6.
mean, that's what you would hope for from your first line center.
I know, but as much as we talk about Mika struggling, right?
Mm.
Yeah. But
We have to be fair.
again, Trocheck had a great year last year, playing alongside Panarin and Lafreniere. And again, Panarin and Lafreniere have had a pretty good year to start the season. So I think Trocheck's going to get there. It's just, I would just throw it out to a slow start. But for the Rangers, who are having Kreider and Zibanejad really struggling right now, to add Trocheck to that mix is really a recipe for disaster. And the team's struggling to score goals right now. Again, they had one goal last night against Soderblom and the Blackhawks. So tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, I think Trocheck's problem is it's not more so of a him as a player problem. I feel like it's more so of the expectations that were put onto him were too high because he is a good second line center. I think people viewed him as a little bit more towards an elite second line center, which he's not that, and it's fine. I mean, not every team is going to have an elite second line center, but he's still a good player, a good second line center. And him, Panarin, and Lafreniere, if you keep that line together, like they're going to find their way again.
Exactly. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Because again, they played really well together last year, so there's no reason to think that they're not going to be able to find it this season.
And then we go back to the first line right wing slot. Riley Smith, another Band-Aid fix by Drury on that first line. I mean, he's had like two good games, probably outside of last night's game, which I missed against Chicago. But I mean, he's been I'm pretty sure a healthy scratch at one point over the last couple games. It's just a hole created that there was no plan to fix. That's all I got to say. All I have to say. But in the long term, if you have Lafreniere and Kako as your 1-2, you could be doing worse. I mean, Lafreniere's play lately too hasn't been great since he got paid. So, I mean, dude, there's
Doesn't
so
that
many
always happen,
problems.
though? Doesn't that always happen?
There's so many problems, but we've been harping on the negatives. Let's talk about some of the positives right now. Dude, Will Cooley is third on the team in goals.
Yeah. Will Cooley is a beast.
Dude, he's been
Um,
awesome.
you talk about a breakout season for the kid. That's what this year has been. Um, 22 points in 27 games. 22 points in 27 games. Can you imagine where the
For a
Rangers
kid playing on your third line.
for a kid playing on your third line? And I'll say this, Filipino and Capo Caco have a lot to do with that, with his success. Again, that they found a lot of chemistry. So I think the Rangers might have their Tom Wilson for the next several years here. Like again, a point producing feisty forward. He's only 22 years old, 6'3". He's going to be a monster for a long time. And again, Cooley's one of those guys that if Riley Smith continues to struggle and the Rangers first line kind of gets a little bit of a changeover, maybe he finds himself on the first line. I know you don't want to mess with something good that you have going on line number three, but if he's putting up 22 points in 27 games, I think it's something Peter Laviolette has to think about down the road. So
Oh, absolutely. Another bright spot so far, even though he's only played a handful of games, but he's provided some energy and actually looks pretty good out there. Brett Berard has actually been a nice little spark plug.
I've loved Brett Berard as a prospect ever since he played at Providence College for 3 seasons. Put up 38 points in 36 games, the 21-22 season there. He's been good in Hartford. Again, spark plug kind of player. Not the biggest, 5'9", but again, 22 years old, and he's among this crop of Rangers forward prospects with Cooley, and with Othman that are going to really come up and make an impact. And I'm happy to see Berard doing well. So 2 points in 5 games. Hopefully he's able to keep it going. But again, these are guys that Peter Laviolette's going to need to continue to put into the lineup and put in big spots because when they're performing above the guys that are getting paid the most, you know, sometimes it's play the kids. It's the best way to move forward, get better.
Speaking of playing the kids, Adam Edstrom has actually been a nice little addition to the team this year. He's a Rangers draft pick going back, I think, 6 years now. Yeah, that's
I
another big guy, big-bodied guy that provides energy, can actually skate, and can actually play hockey.
Yeah. 6'6". I mean, that's really nice to have on your fourth line alongside Sam Carrick, who I've actually think who's had a nice year as well. So for Edstrom, I thought he played really well last year and deserved at least a look come playoff time to have him on that fourth line, but wasn't the time for him then. But I think this year he's really solidified himself in that bottom six for the Rangers. I'm really happy to see it. So
Would you like to know my on-the-spot nickname for Adam Edstrom?
what do you got?
The effective Matt Rempe.
Okay, there you go. No comment there. I think Rempe's still he'll still be able to find it. We'll see.
That's why I said on-the-spot nickname.
Yeah.
And then since we got to bring it up, Panarin's been good. I mean,
Panarin's been Panarin.
Panarin's been good.
Yeah.
One of the few bright spots, which is funny because we just mentioned like seven of them. But I, An underlying issue, though, is it has been a little bit of a rotating cast on the fourth line. So they kind of do need to get that together. Carrick and Edstrom have kind of been the two mainstays, but yeah, that's an underrated spot that they need to get looked at come the trade deadline.
I just think it comes down to having four consistent lines.
And they
They
do not have that right now.
they do not have that, but by playoff time you have to. So again, and by the trade deadline, I think that's a good mark, like you said. So
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. All right, now we need to get into the this is sort of an elephant in the room, just based solely on the number. But you did bring it up earlier. Igor Shesterkin, 8 years, $92 million extension. As you remember when we did our free agent episode and you kept saying that you were scared?
yeah,
This contract terrifies me.
okay.
I'm just being honest here. This terrifies me because not only is it the biggest goalie contract in NHL history, uh, the team in front of him has not been a win now team. I don't care that they've made two conference finals in the last 3 seasons. They did not play like a team that should be there.
I gotta be honest,
There
Shay.
are there are a lot of issues that need to be fixed. Granted, his playoff numbers got him this contract, but this contract still terrifies me.
I think he earned the contract. I think he's been the best goaltender in the league for the last 3 seasons, 4 seasons now. So
Yeah, that's debatable. Regular season wise, that's highly debatable. Playoffs, yes.
since he's entered the league, 932, 916, 935, 916, 913 this year, 910. And again, the team in front of him has a lot to say about that. But again, $11.5 million, again, highest paid contract for any goaltender in NHL history. Um, you know, beats Carey Price's 10.5 million, I think he got a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
Uh,
also beats Bobrovsky's.
and Bobrovsky got around that same number
Oh,
as well.
yeah, excuse me, Liam. Bobrovsky. All right.
Bobrovsky. No, but again, Igor, I think is somebody that you had to keep around.
Yeah.
And if we want to contend, he's a part of the core, right? He's, a player that you need to have on your roster, like Fox, like Lafreniere, like Panarin, moving forward. So somebody you couldn't afford to lose. And I think it was disheartening earlier in the year when we found out that Shesterkin had declined a contract extension given by the Rangers around this same number, 11 and a half, 11.75. But I'm happy to see him come to his senses and, kind of understand that this number is what he's going to have to take for the team to have cap flexibility to be able to put a successful roster moving forward in the next several years. So I'm happy to see that from Shesterkin. I'm happy to see the commitment from the Rangers. And again, it's a little bit scary where that number is at, but the cap's going to be going up pretty fast here. So, and
It
again,
should. Yeah.
Drury opened up that $11.5 million. I know there was only 2 more years left on the Trouba deal, and there was only 3 or 4 years left on the Goudreau deal, but he still opened up the money, at least for the next couple of seasons. And then the cap will go up enough by the time that those contracts would have ended, to where the Rangers, could save some money in the long run, to where $11.5 million isn't that scary of a number. So for me, as long as Shesterkin is continuing his strong play, I don't see an issue with the deal. So.
Another Rangers contract that was signed recently was the extension to Alexis Lafreniere, who signed an, I believe, 8-year extension at $7.45 million annually. And I mean, we brought this up earlier how his play has dipped since signing the contract. But if Lafreniere continues to progress the way that he's progressing, that contract is going to be a steal.
It's going to be a steal. Yes. I mean, right now, 9 goals, 11 assists, 20 points in 27 games. He's slowed down a little bit, like you said, since signing the contract, but I think that's a really good deal. And again, when we put into perspective how much $8.5 million is going to be worth once the cap goes up in 3 or 4 years from now, and especially Lafreniere, who's on the precipice of becoming a point per game player, There's no question in my mind that this is going to look like a steal. And this is a great contract because it allows Lafreniere to get paid now, $8.5 million per season at 23 years old, gets him locked in one place with the Rangers, and the Rangers get the same thing, get to keep the player around at a good rate, and again helps their cap moving forward to where one of your best players, and perhaps in a couple of years, your best player in Lafreniere isn't taking up a lot of your cap. That's a valuable thing to have. So.
Absolutely. And, Lafreniere is eventually going to be a first line winger for this team. So that part I'm not worried about at all.
Yep.
But it all comes back to the right moves got to be made around all these guys. That's all it comes down to. But 92 million must be. It's no Juan Soto deal, but it's nice. This guy's set for life.
Let's go Mets, baby. And Rangers.
I have thoughts about that deal. I have thoughts.
765.
Could
Crazy.
it could be as much as 800. Too
Could
much
be.
money. Too much money. Yeah, but I'm done speaking about Juan Soto and his fucking 800 million that I'll probably never see in 18 lifetimes. But we do have some other signings around the league to quickly touch upon. We did mention Igor and Lafreniere already, but some other goalie extensions that took place recently. Ottinger got extended in Dallas. Allmark got extended in Ottawa, and Joey Decord got extended in Seattle. And of course, former Ranger great Brett Howden gets extended in Vegas. Guy leaves us to win a cup. It's absolutely incredible. I
One of the
can't take
best, one of the best bottom six players in the league
I
for a
can't
couple
take
of
it
years
anymore.
now. Yeah.
But
Uh,
yeah, Howden's deal was 5 years, $2.5 million a year. Shesty, we touched upon 11 and a half for 8.
yeah.
Braden McNabb was also re-signed by the Knights, 3 years, 365 per year. Uh, there's some funny names here. Jake McCabe, 5 years with the Maple Leafs, just over $4.5 million a year. We touched upon Lafreniere, 7 years, 7.45 mil. Shea Theodore re-signed with the Knights about 3 weeks ago. 7 years, 7.425 a year. And last, and here are the three goalies I mentioned. Ottinger, 8 years, 8.25. Allmark, 4 years at 8.25, and Joey Decord, 5 years, 5. And last but not least, Carter Verhaeghe, my boy in fantasy, 8 years, 7 million a year. So a lot of good contracts there.
I mean, one that stands out to me is Ottinger in Dallas. $8.2 million dollars a year when Shesterkin gets 11 and a half. There could be an argument that Ottinger is the best goalie in the Western Conference and
Yeah,
Shesterkin is the best goalie in the Eastern Conference. And there's a $3 million per year difference in their salaries. So that's interesting to me. Brett Howden in Vegas. I mean, like we talked about, former Ranger reinvigorated his career, found a home. Got to give him credit. And again, $2.5 million, it's nothing. With the way the cap is going up, it's nothing. Um, Allmark in Ottawa, Decord has earned his contract in Seattle.
yeah,
That's one that I was happy to see. That's good for the team and the player. 5 million. I think that's a good number. And Verhaeghe in Florida, that's your boy. And again, big reason why they won the Stanley Cup last year. So
yeah. Yeah, and Theodore might, or is McCabe, no, McCabe's a forward.
McCabe's a defenseman.
McCabe is a defenseman. All right. So yeah, him and Theodore, I'm telling you, dude, my mind this season has just been elsewhere. Theodore and McCabe
The
are the
broadcaster in me, you just say a name and I'm just like, yeah, that's their position. Like say
it's,
like say any name in the NHL and like I got you. Like find the most random name you can think of.
I was gonna say Casimir Kaskisuo, but he's not in the NHL. He's
That one
goalie, by
would
the way.
that one would have been pretty tough.
He's goalie, by the way. Former Leafs prospect. Okay, how about nope, that's Jake Neighbors.
Jake Neighbors. That's a tough one. Um, I want to say forward, and I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to say forward.
He is a forward.
Mhm.
All right. Game over. You win. I give up.
Jake McCabe, though, again, really a shutdown guy, defensive defenseman, and I think Toronto's starting to build kind of a defensive core where
It only took him 8 years.
things are a little stable now, which is good. And McCabe's a part of that, so good that they were able to extend him. And Shea Theodore, awesome player. So in Vegas, so
Speaking of Shea Theodore being an awesome player, he was named to Team Canada in the Four Nations Faceoff, which is coming in February of this coming year, 2025.
yeah.
Four teams being Canada, US, Sweden, and oh no, not a Finland, to quote
Mm.
South Park. I absolutely love that episode. But yeah, looking over the rosters here, just my opinion, I think between forward group and defensemen, US and Canada lead the way, but just as an overall unit, at least on paper, because let's just go through the rosters real quick. So Canada, you got Sam Bennett, Anthony Cirelli, Crosby, Brandon Hagel, Seth Jarvis, Travis Konechny, Nathan McKinnon, Brad Marchand, Mitch Marner, Connor McDavid, Braden Point. Think he's going to be a game time decision. Sam Reinhart and Mark Stone, who just came back from injury. And on their defense, Cale Makar, Josh Morrissey, Colton Parayko, Alex Pietrangelo, former defense partners right there. Travis Sanheim, Shea Theodore, who we just mentioned, and Devon Taves. And you got to admit, that's a pretty strong team. And then in goalie, this is probably the worst goalie tandem in the tournament. Jordan Binnington, Aiden Hill, even though he's coming off a Stanley Cup win 2 years ago, and Sam Montembeault or Montembeault.
Montembeau, but yeah,
Montembeault. Okay. All right.
Montembeau, Montembeau,
Okay. I'm
not Beau.
shut.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. Defense, forwards, stacked for that team. But the goaltending, I would just give Aiden Hill the net. Just give him the net. That-
Yeah, that three-way tandem on paper is looks pretty weak. On to the United States. It's actually a pretty decent roster. Matt Boldy, Kyle Connor, that's my other guy in fantasy. Jack Eichel, who's having a monster season. Jake Gensel, Jack Hughes, Chris Kreider. How he made this team legitimately makes me mad. Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews, JT Miller, who's struggling this season, Brock Nelson, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, and Vincent Trocheck. Oh, Trocheck made this team. Interesting. On defense, Brock Faber, Adam Fox, Noah Hannafin, Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy, Jacob Slavin, who I always forget is American, and Zach Werenski. And in goal, Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ottinger, and Jeremy Swayman. That's a pretty good team. I mean, obviously there is like one or two players you go and you're just like, okay, that was a decision. But I think overall it's a solid team.
Yeah. Matthews and Eichel on Team USA against McKinnon and McDavid on Team Canada. That'll be a fun matchup. Two fun matchups. On the back end. I mean, Adam Fox, Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes up front, both Kachuk brothers.
Yeah.
So I think Team USA might be the deeper team. But I think Team Canada might be the most talented, at least up front. And the goaltending, I mean, depends what you get out of Hellebuck, but if history is any indication, he's gonna lead them to some W's. So
I mean, on paper, that's the strongest goalie tandem in the tournament, and I think they're by far the best. Like, I think if you're competing for second, it's a distant second here.
we'll see what Finland's got. So
Oh no, not the Finland. Finland's Finland. Oh my God. Finland has got a decent team here. Sebastian Aho, Joel Armia, Alexander Barkov, Mikhail Granlund, Eric Holla, Rupe Hintz, Capo Kakko, Patrick Laine, Arturi Lehkonen, Anton Lundell, Eetu Luosterainen, Mikko Rantanen, and Teuvo Teravainen up front. On defense, Jani Hakanpää, Miro Heiskanen, Esa Lindell, Olli Mata, Nico Mikkola, former Ranger great, Rasmus Ristolainen, and Juuso Välimäki, with their goalie tandem being Kevin Lankinen, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, which is probably the most fun goalie name to say in the NHL, and Juuse Saros. That's a, I mean, that's a decent team right there.
That's a good team, but when it's compared to US and Canada, not sure.
Yeah.
Saros in net though.
Yeah, he's having a little bit of a down year. So are the Predators in general, but that's another story for another day.
When you're playing for your country, it's different, you know.
This is true. Hey, I mean, even this isn't uh on paper, this team sounds underwhelming overall. But I mean, you still have Aho, Barkov, Hintz, Lundell, Rantanen, and Teravainen up front. That's still a decent crop of forwards.
Yes, very much so.
And also Finland is known for having good defensive forwards, so that might play into their favor throughout this tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's not a terrible team. Sweden, in my opinion, is the weakest team. But here we go. We got Victor Arvidsson, Jesper Bratt, who's actually having a really good season, Leo Carlsson, Joel Eriksson Ek, Philip Forsberg, who I always forget is Swedish, William Karlsson, Adrian Kempe, Elias Lindholm, William Nylander, Gustav Nyquist, Elias Pettersson, who is by far their best player on this team, Lucas Raymond, and Mika Zibanejad. That's a decision. On defense, Rasmus Anderson, very good name. Jonas Brodin, Rasmus Dahlin, Matthias Ekholm, Gustav Forsling, Victor Hedman, and Eric Carlson, because obviously, I don't know if you get that joke, but that's a joke between me and Brendan. Yeah, okay. And their goalie tandem, Philip Gustafsson, Jacob Markstrom, Linus Ullmark. That's an okay. I mean, okay, I take that back. That's a good goalie tandem. Philip
It'll
Gustafsson
make
is
for some
obviously the third guy.
it'll make for a very competitive hockey between the four teams. I'm excited.
Oh yeah. I think this is Sweden is the weakest team on paper, though.
And hopefully we can add Russia in next time.
Hopefully. I mean, I don't hold any of those players in a bad
It's just
light because none of them had anything to do with what happened, but we're not going to
it's
get into
just
that.
it's just hockey, man.
It really it sports are different from whatever the hell goes on in the rest of the world. That's all you'll hear me say about that. But yeah, 20 skaters, three goalies for each team. It total of 7 games from February 12th to February 20th. Uh, TD Garden in Boston, Bell Center in Montreal are two arenas where these games are going to be taking place, which is, I think that's two smart arena choices. And all of the games will be played in accordance with NHL rules, not IIHF rules. I find that kind of interesting. I just found that out on the spot.
That is interesting.
Each team, 3 tournament games in a traditional round robin, 3 points for a win in regulation, 2 points for an overtime or shootout win, 1 point for an overtime or shootout loss. NHL, listen, 0 points for a loss in regulation. So mostly the same as NHL games, besides the 2 points or 3 points, I should say. So I mean, this should be pretty good. Did they come out with the full schedule yet or no?
I don't think so, no.
All right. Yeah, this is going to be something to watch because this might be more entertaining than watching the Rangers play, which that we're setting a pretty low bar here. But no, this should be a good tournament. A lot of good players involved in this tournament.
It's gonna be a fun one for sure, but I think Canada takes it.
I'm going to be bold. Let's go US.
I'm sorry, you're not competing with Crosby, McKinnon, and McDavid. You're just not. With Makara on the back end, it's just not happening.
Well, that depends who they starting in goal.
Hill, Aiden Hill.
You
Big
would
time
hope.
goalie.
I mean, if you're a Canadian fan,
Big game goalie.
you would hope.
I mean, obviously I want my country to win, USA, but you're just reading off the rosters right there. It's Team Canada's to lose.
Yeah, probably. But then you look at the
Yes.
goalies and you're just like, ah.
The three best centers in the entire tournament.
Okay, that's fair. But I mean,
Yeah.
hey, Jack Eichel, Jack Hughes, Dylan Larkin, and JT Miller and
Hughes,
Matthews.
Matthews, Hughes,
I mean,
Matthews,
that's
and
nothing to
Pedersen.
scoff at.
Hughes, Matthews, and Pedersen are the three for me. I kind of give them the most. And the Kachuk brothers. If the USA can get the Kachuk brothers going, maybe on the same line, and the goaltending, Hellebuck shuts down Team Canada, they have a shot.
Yeah,
But
just saying, there's a chance.
and then watch Mika Zibanejad go off on a heater and score 17 goals in 5 games. And
And then come back to the Rangers and be a minus 15 over the next 3 games.
see.
Why do I do this to myself?
We'll see.
Yeah, this should be a fun tournament, though. Yeah, so a lot of dollars mentioned this episode. Almost a billion. Must
Yes.
be nice.
Enjoy, Igor Shesterkin. Enjoy.
Yeah, that guy's set for life. You want to know who else is going to be set for life?
Who?
Whoever takes over as the Jets general manager and head coach. You knew I had to bring this up. I got to bring it up at least in the intro or the outro every episode. Why do I
Mhm.
still watch them? Have you seen the Rangers play? I'd rather go through 1 3 hour period of misery per week than multiple 2.5 periods of misery every week.
Yeah, but they're not going to the playoffs. What's the point of watching?
Well, what was the point of watching the Rangers during the rebuild?
Well, they were still pretty good during the rebuild, to be
They had
fair.
their moments.
They were pretty exciting. Not like the Jets, who are
They
just
were,
straight up
well, I mean,
depressing.
no, they weren't good. They were exciting, though. They
They
weren't
were
good.
under David Quinn.
Feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah. There were some good moments.
There really were. Hey, they
90.
won majority of the games I went to from 2018 to like going into COVID
Mhm.
and a little bit after that. So
Yep.
I must say, I do have a pretty good record. That's the one thing you can give me credit for.
Make sure you go to the Eastern Conference Finals if they get there.
Yeah, I am not paying an arm and a leg because that is not going to be enough. Hey,
If
2014 for game
Igor can.
six of the Stanley Cup final, that never happened. I was willing to spend $1,100 to be at that game. Didn't
How much?
happen, but
What year was that again?
2014.
Oh, the Cup.
Yeah, I was willing to spend $1,100 for game six. That should have happened, but didn't.
Rick Nash hit a post in double overtime on the
I
last.
can, yeah, Dan Girardi turnover game one. Also, did he hit that post in overtime? I don't think that puck ever even got to the net. I think Voinov made a miraculous defensive play there.
I have to take a second look. I thought it went off the post.
I
Thought McDonough set him up at the circle.
I
Blast.
don't want to go down this rabbit hole right now. I'm in a good mood. But yeah, this has been Pucks and Brews. Igor Shesterkin's a rich man. Juan Soto is an even richer man. This is more money than I will ever see in my lifetime. It's almost Christmas. I can guarantee you we will record again before Christmas because it's the NHL. Ovechkin's coming back soon. The goal chase is back on for this season. That guy's a machine, by the way. He's already, he might come back sooner than later, which is just insane with technically a broken leg.
Right.
But yeah, hope everybody enjoyed a drink of choice throughout this episode. I enjoyed too. I don't I don't know. I don't feel like I'm not shaking. So that's a good sign.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens later. But yeah, this has been Pucks and Brews, episode 67, which is a cool number. But who wore 67 on the Rangers? Was that no? That wasn't Nash, was it?
I don't think I could think of him.
67, 67. Brendan would randomly know this off the top of his head. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Please on YouTube, click that like button. Please hit subscribe. Helps us out. And really just hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment in follow us on our socials in the description box below, and we will talk to you before Christmas because I said so.
Well, just real quick before the episode ends, two players in Ranger history wore 67.
Oh, wait a minute. Not Duclair.
One in 2014, one in 2017. Benoit Pouliot in 2014, and Booney Evis in 2017.
I actually have a picture with Booney Evis. Funny enough.
I wonder what he's doing now. But
I
anyway,
I don't know. All I remember is the guy looked like he did not want to be taking a picture with me, and I couldn't necessarily blame him.
he was a pretty good player there for us for a couple games.
He was okay. He was all right.
Bunievis retired from hockey after the 2020 season.
Interesting.
But yeah, there you
Here's a
go.
random Ranger name to throw out there at the very end of this episode. Marek Rivik.
Yeah, Marek Rivik, sure.
All
Kevin,
right. Kevin Klein. Love that guy.
yeah, Kevin Con.
Fucking love that guy. All right.
I bet we
We're,
need
we're
Kevin Klein on the blue line.
we
Get
we
back in.
do. Kevin Klein, come back. Thanks for watching, everybody.